Okay.
There we go.
Yes. Should be. It's public. Okay, time to ping the Discord server. And time to post it on Facebook and Blue Sky.
Just got the notification on YouTube.
Nice. And let's see if there's anybody in the chat yet. Wait, okay, this is working. Yes, okay. Just gotta wait until one person says something in the chat, just so that way I know. There we go. Thomas Chester says, "Hey, hello, how are you doing? I am joined by Sharkius today. Sharkius, say hi to the chat."
Yo, what's up?
Yes, and we are covering Typhoon Bualoy, which is making landfall in Vietnam. Here's a look at the current radar imagery, and Sharkius, what do you notice in this imagery here? It was just was showing up earlier. The radar imagery.
I was noticing earlier, and this is something even on the cloud imagery I was looking at. This thing is starting to develop an eye right before landfall.
Yes, and a pretty
Kind of
circular
funny.
one.
Yeah, which
And
is just interesting. I was just looking at it yesterday, and it wasn't developing an eye last night, but then this morning I just take a look at it at 4 a.m. to 7:58 or 8:05 now. It is starting to get that eye right before it makes landfall here.
yes. And yeah, the fact that you mentioned earlier it didn't really look too organized. It's not really loading on here. There we go. It didn't look too organized. It was mainly
Yeah.
just a large band here of rain on the eastern side. That western eye wall wasn't really completed, and now, like you mentioned, it is getting its act together. It is starting to get that circular eye, which means it could be a high in Cat 1, Cat low in Cat 2 right now. It's kind of difficult determining the estimates. And you also mentioned on infrared imagery here, the satellite imagery, you can kind of see that eye poking out.
Yep.
It's not as organized as you'd like to see for a Category 2 strength system or so. But it could very well be on its way to reaching that intensity by the time it makes landfall.
Definitely. The way it's been organizing in the past like a couple more hours, it looks like it could possibly get a more circular eye before landfall, but it really depends here.
Yes. And speaking of which, the latest forecast here, this was from around 12 hours ago, from us, had it as a Category 1 strengthening to a Category 2 by now, which means it should be either a low in Cat 1, high in Cat 1, low in Category 2 right now, making landfall in central Vietnam. And it looks like that forecast is kind of verifying. Yep, there it is, where it's forecasted to make landfall. Right there, north of Dong Hoi and Badan there in Min Duke, I believe is how you pronounce that. So yeah, the eye wall is starting to impact land right now. And Sharkies, with that, what is starting to impact the coast on the northern side?
And you got them typhoon winds.
Yes, and what else
Typhoon,
though
typhoon
with the
wind feels.
water?
Storm surge.
Yes, so long portions of northern Vietnam could be getting some harsh storm surge, including Dai Ho there and north of there. So wherever is north of wherever the center makes landfall, they're going to get that onshore flow, meaning some storm surge is possible, especially in some of those bay areas. Whereas the southern side isn't expected to get that as much. Why is that, Sharkius?
So the let me check what I'm seeing here on my satellite. So with this eye developing shortly here, it looks like the landfall areas won't directly see the storm surge as long as they would to the north, which looks like Song Trai Ward, just to the north of Badan, because that's where the storm is likely heading. The eye is directly heading just
Mm-hmm.
north of Badan. That storm surge is going to be mainly to the north, and so Dong Hoi and Song Trai Ward are going to see most of it here,
Yes.
um, along with those typhoon force wind fields. Um, but yeah, I think with how big this eye looks on your screen, maybe they won't even see some of that storm surge as much as other areas would, like Ha Tin or Kai Pong and Kien Ging to the south. So
Yes.
this is very interesting looking over the last few hours. I mean, last night I was tracking this, no eye, so it looked like everyone was going to get surge, but this is interesting. how things have changed.
Yes, exactly. And the eye wall there's strongest on the northern side, meaning that that's going to amplify some of that surge on the northern side. Also, you factor in that
Exactly.
forward motion where the storm's going, increases the wind on the northern side. So, really, wherever it makes landfall into the north, could see some pretty bad surge out of this, compared to the south at least.
Correct. I mean, yeah, it's interesting how the eye wall on the north here is actually stronger, which is interesting. I think
Yes.
last night what I noticed is that the southern eye wall was stronger. So this is very interesting how it just changed over the last few hours.
Yes, yesterday it looked like the southern side and eastern side was stronger, but then it's starting to wrap it more around the eye itself there, completely circling the eye. But
Yeah.
its majority on the north and eastern side seems to be the strongest quadrants.
Yeah, and it's crazy how this thing just organized real quick over the last few hours. I mean, take a look at just looking at it last night. When I was taking a look at it, it looked like it was, you know, for example, Hurricane Milton when it was still trying to organize and get that eye. It looked like it was a weakening version of that, though, as you could see, like before it went under the eye wall replacement. Now it just all of a sudden developed it right before landfall,
Yes,
and we were talking about it last night. Me and a couple friends, we were looking at it. We were saying, "Oh, this is interesting. I mean, it looks like it's trying to develop an eye, but it looks like it was struggling too much." But then, well, this morning,
yes. And that's due to a lack of wind shear. So it's really allowing the system to breathe, not really inhibiting it. It's able to uh, develop an eye wall and stack that vertically, so you can start to see that on satellite imagery, like you were mentioning earlier. There, you can see the eye decently on visible imagery, or at least true color imagery here, and you can see how expansive some of that outflow is. It's a pretty large system, which means that impacts are going to be happening well outside of the center. What kind of impacts do you think are going to be happening well outside of the center?
I'd say possible like flooding. Flooding is definitely going to be
Yes,
the worst concern, mainly due to always in the outer bands we always see a lot of rain, tons of
yes.
rain,
Like
and
right down
since they
here,
don't,
you can see a lot of rain bands just stacking over the same area. That is in Cambodia, I believe.
yes, so the rain bands will cause a lot of flooding. They normally do in these storms. We won't see a lot of storm surge basically from wind because that's near the center, but rain impacts are always bad. We've seen this how many times, especially last year, Hurricane Helene in North Carolina, was the outer
Yes,
rain bands just sitting over the state. And this is what's happening to Cambodia right now. You can see they're just stacking and sitting over that area, which is never a good thing.
yes. Let's see. Can't really see too much on radar imagery here due to the lack of coverage. I'll try and see if I can pull up the past 24 hours loop there of some of those rain bands. But yeah,
You see
they're far away from the center.
Ban Lung, see Ban Lung there? It's been 24 hours of it
Yeah,
having
right
rain.
here.
It looks like, unfortunately, yeah,
Here we go.
12
See all
hours
those
actually.
bands starting to fire up now over those areas.
Yeah.
And yes, on infrared imagery here, you can see this shows how cold the cloud tops are, how intense some of those thunderstorms are, and you can see that while around the center there are some intense thunderstorms or rain rates there, there's also some more intense ones down by Cambodia there that we were just talking about earlier. You can see all of that starting to flare up. Some of those land thunderstorms, there's a lot of moisture with the system, so that they can easily fire up and dump large rain rates.
hmm One to the east as well there.
Where? To like right here?
The west.
Oh,
Sorry.
west. Okay. That would be. Oh, yeah, over here.
Yeah, that is a
Yes.
massive thunderstorm.
Yes,
Actually,
that
wow.
is moving into Thailand right now. I believe. Yes, Thailand.
Yep, that is moving into Thailand. This is kind of insane how this thing has just spiked in the last few hours. Last night when I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, I think this is just gonna make landfall probably as a low end category one, but my estimate now could be a high end cat one to low end cat two with how this thing has organized over the last few hours, and now we're just seeing these intense thunderstorms develop. And actually, that one I just mentioned, is
Mm-hmm.
right over the city of Vientiane, which is a big city here.
Which one there?
Vientiane.
Vientiane. Oh, that one. Yes. Okay. Yes, I can see that right there. Maybe it's finished passing through. Looks like
It
it's
just
just some of
blew
the
up right on
clouds
top of
there.
it. Looks like it just blew up on top of it, though. That's interesting.
Yes. But mainly looks like the rain there and thunderstorm thankfully stayed to the south of it. But they could have definitely seen a little bit of impacts there on that northern periphery of that thunderstorm. Because
For
there's some
sure. It
populated
doesn't
areas here that could be hit by some of those rain bands and some of those thunderstorms in the outer bands. Even as far northeast as southwestern Guangdong province getting in on some of the action there with some of those outer rain bands. That would be right
Oh,
over here. Very expansive storm. And I want to briefly touch on the waters that this system is moving over. Right here. Okay. So, what are your thoughts on this? 30 degrees or 29 to 30 degrees Celsius water? How good is that for the storm?
no. Well, to put it in short, when you got very, very, very warm waters, that's not good at all. This thing has low wind shear, high sea surface temperatures. It's got the perfect environment to intensify into that low end category 2 status, like we are talking about
Yes.
right before landfall. With how it is right now, it depends. I mean, with how warm the waters are, it all depends on wind shear right now. But seeing that it is trying to develop an eye, it means it is very low wind shear because
Yes.
usually wind shear will block out the potential for that eye to happen. It will choke the storm out. But since we're seeing that, wind shear values are likely very low here.
And if I pull it up on here, we should be able to see shear looks to be low to moderate right now. So that's the limiting factor for it. That in time doesn't have a whole lot of time to intensify before it makes that landfall. Let's see if it does improve a bit on here. Shear, no, it stays in that like moderate to low category. Looks like over here of around 10 to 15 knots or so. So it's fairly low compared to some other storms that we've seen. Um, and also, I do want to touch on the oceanic heat content here. It is lower here, so this would be more of a factor if the storm decided to stall or it was a much stronger system. But fortunately, well, I don't know. Fortunately, it's not that strong of a system. But this will allow for it to intensify, though. This amount, even though it's not a whole lot, it will still allow for it to intensify, like you're saying, to possibly low end Category 2 status.
It really depends on when this like makes landfall because with how fast it's moving, it could be in the next hour. But the recent advisory from JTWC it says 80 miles per hour, and this was at 1 a.m. So what's interesting about this is that this really could intensify to Category 2 status here, but we're keeping an
Yes.
eye on it. But
Yep. And yeah, landfall looks
um,
to be pretty soon, within the next hour potentially. This imagery may be a little bit out of date. I'll try to see. Yeah, maybe 15 to 20 minutes out of date. So that's is probably already moving on shore, just north of Badon there. And I'll pull up.
which is actually a good thing because when you're inside the eye, quiet. So that is a
Yes,
very good thing,
yes.
actually. So
The quicker it goes through land, the quicker it will weaken. The better it is there. Less heavy rainfall rates. The more it stalls, the longer the prolonged rainfall happens.
yeah, good thing it's been moving at a decent speed. That it's not going to stall or anything unless it
Yeah.
does over land. But right now it's been moving pretty fast, which is good.
See, I'll pull up how fast it is in miles per hour just to give us us Americans, a better understanding of how quickly it's been
Yeah.
moving. This would be around 90 miles in, that would be 6 hours, so that's roughly, oh man, the math. I think that's,
Um,
let's see, 90
so
divided by 6.
you got about
15 miles an
maybe
hour.
yeah.
Yep,
So that's about the speed of Humberto actually in the Atlantic right now. Interestingly enough.
yes. So briefly touching on its distance from certain areas in kilometers, it's probably better to do this on Windy's website since we can actually see the radar imagery. Distance from certain land areas, this will be in kilometers here. Or whoops, no, not nautical miles. Okay, roughly 40 kilometers away from making landfall, maybe 39 kilometers away. Looking at Badon, roughly around 45 kilometers, Dong Hoi, around 45 kilometers away. And then further inland there into the border between Vietnam and Laos, around 130 kilometers away. And also, when we were talking about those rain bands in Cambodia, that's roughly around 500 kilometers away, and they're still getting some of those outer rain bands, intense rain bands.
Oh my goodness, actually. Wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to the 27th of September, like when I was awake yesterday night at like
Mm-hmm.
8 to 9. We were checking this and it looked like it was trying to develop an eye, but yeah, like it was struggling, like I said earlier. And then all of a sudden this morning, I just look at 1 a.m. There it is. The eye starts popping out. This thing has been producing an eye since 1 a.m. almost, which is
Yes.
interesting. 1 a.m. American time, by the way. It's
Yes.
8:20 for me. So at 1 a.m. for me, this thing was producing
Mm-hmm.
an eye, it looks like. So it took mm, about 7 hours now. It's been producing an eye. So this could
Yes.
very well be a very high end Cat 1 now.
And you can see this burst that it had right over here, what we call a vertical heat tower. Basically, just a burst of thunderstorms here that just wraps around that eye. They're kind of promoting that eye wall development and closing off the eye. So that's why you can see the eye popping out here, and you can see the difference between what's the eye and what's that convective burst there. Firing right over
Hmm.
here. Here's the border of it, and then this is the eye slot right there. And so we will just wrap around it, and we'll continue seeing that happen. Like there's another one that's happened over. That was probably a couple hours ago. And yes, you can see the eye kind of clearing out a little bit more. It is going to start facing some land interaction probably. Um, I'm not sure if it's getting any dry air into it or whatever. Um, I'll pull up some
Moving,
water vapor imagery.
it looks to have sped up a little bit from that newest point. It looks like it's moving at 16 miles an hour now.
All right.
Um, Interestingly enough.
And its distance away from land, I'll pull that up in miles, so that way we can understand that. So 40 kilometers, roughly around 23 miles away. And this imagery is a little bit out of date, so it's probably closer by now.
Actually, with where it was on that previous dot to where it is
Mm-hmm.
now, it's about 30 miles from it.
Yeah.
And so this thing might still be moving or even speeding up a little bit.
Yes. We can see on the latest imagery here, there's the eye wall impacting areas like Dong Hoi and Badan. Thankfully, though, that eye wall doesn't look as intense as the northeastern side as we were talking about earlier. And
Actually,
now,
no, from the last point. Hold up.
yep.
From the last point, 103 miles.
All right. It's like in terms of how fast it's moving.
Away from it, yeah. So it's speeding up. It's at 17 now. It looks like, based on my calculation,
Okay.
where it
So
is
it's
right
getting
now.
closer.
It's getting faster and closer here.
Now, I do want to touch on some of these model runs here. The European run does continue to strengthen it to that roughly Category 2 status before making landfall. Looks like it has it going just to the north of that little, I don't know what I'd call this, kind of half peninsula, or that the thing that bows out there near Haiphong.
Yes. So
Um,
between Badan and Kayan is that little like peninsula thing, like Chase was saying here.
yes,
Just a little bump in
oh,
Like I guess the land mass in Vietnam here.
yes. I do want to touch on that next system, though. The European run does show another tropical cyclone impacting Luzon and then moving into the South China Sea, potentially becoming a threat to Hainan Island over the next 7 to 8 days or so, and then eventually Vietnam. So there could be another system we'll need to be watching out for.
Right behind this. Oh
Yes,
man.
fortunately, the American run here does show that next system quickly becoming a major typhoon before impacting Luzon and the Babuan Islands, unfortunately, before then moving into Guangdong province. So, again, another possible major typhoon threat we're going to need to be watching out for the next few days that has some decent model support on it. And speaking of model support, let's look at the Canadian model, see if it has any support on that next system. Not really, just a broad low pressure area impacting Hainan Island. The German model, I'll pull that up. Does show that next system developing into a tropical cyclone near Luzon there. And speaking of models, let's now take a look at some of the ensemble members here. European ensembles, I'm not sure, they didn't have much support last time. I'll see if they do now. Yes, this support has increased a bit. You can see the difference, right, Sharkius, there? That the increase in support in the South China Sea. How if I go to
Yeah,
before
yeah, yeah.
and then after
I
there,
see that. Yeah,
more members
look at
starting to
that.
show something developing there. Near Hainan Island and Guangdong province of China, which could then eventually impact portions of Vietnam. So this rainfall that we're getting right now in portions of Vietnam is not good because we're going to have potentially another rainmaker going through.
And this is something I'd like to mention as well. When you have one typhoon hit, another one coming in right after that, it's not a good thing at all because the soil's already saturated, so that rain has got nowhere to go. So
Exactly,
it's just going to flood. It's just going to flood the streets. And
exactly.
this, I'm
Makes the
going to
places
mention,
more vulnerable.
we saw this in the Atlantic last year with Helene and Milton when Tampa was completely flooded by Helene almost. So you got like, I heard the stories about a kayaker kayaking in his house after Helene in Tampa. So you
Well,
think about the storm surge there, and then the water receded, and then Milton comes right in and adds it back.
yes,
So this is exactly the problem here for Vietnam is if Bualoi adds all that storm surge near Badan, Don Hoi, and then all this rain saturating the rest of the soil, it's not good at all. This is a very bad situation because then if the models are correct and we get another typhoon here, it's just not going to be a good situation. That's
yes,
just all I can say in the
exactly.
most professional way here.
And the
Um,
American ensembles here are going quite bullish on it, wanting a possible typhoon or major typhoon impacting the Babuan Islands, and we already saw them get hit pretty badly. That is really not great seeing the same group of islands potentially getting hit again.
yeah, this is, oh man, never want to see that.
I mean, models or ensembles here has been kind of consistent recently of something impacting Luzon or the Babuan Islands or the Batanes Islands there in the Luzon Strait, which is not a great sign there. You can see the latest ensembles on here, the American ones taking it towards Luzon and then eventually onto China. This keeps it more away from Vietnam, but if it shifts even a little bit to the south there, we could be seeing impacts in portions of Vietnam where this system's making landfall.
Oh, that's not good.
Uh,
That's really not good.
Um,
You just never want to see this. I mean, you already have one rain impacts from one typhoon. You get another one. It's just never a good sign.
yes.
And this is exactly what we saw. I don't know if some of our viewers, if you've seen Chase's 2025 hypothetical Atlantic season,
Oh,
you got
yes.
one area getting hit by multiple cyclones. It just makes the area so much more vulnerable.
Exactly.
It is
Yes.
never good. And that is actually was seen too with another two storms, Irma and Maria in Puerto Rico.
Exactly.
It's just never good at all.
It
So
doesn't
again,
have to
if
be
you
direct
guys,
hits. You know, it could just
yeah,
be
no, it does
close
not.
passes.
And this is exactly why everyone who is within this cone of uncertainty needs to take this seriously
Hmm.
here.
Or even not
Whether
just the
even if
cone of
you're outside
uncertainty.
of that,
Yeah.
right? Even if you're outside of that, I mean, these impacts can be seen as far as that province in China that you mentioned. I don't really know what the name
Guangxi
of it is.
province over here, and then
Guangxi.
portions of Vietnam, and then Laos, Myanmar, even. And then this should be actually even extended more south. I didn't realize that the rain impacts would be happening this far to the south in Cambodia, for example, in southern Vietnam.
Oh,
So really
oh
a
wow!
large.
You could see some even in Malaya with just how big the storm is. It's pulling in a lot of the stuff from the south here. But
Yes,
like Thailand for sure. I mean, even Bangkok as well. Like it's stretching a long way to the north and south here. So these rain impacts can be felt all the way up in China, all the way down towards even Malaya, which is interesting.
yes.
So this is something we need to keep our eyes on. Again, this is big. Just because it's weak does not mean it's not that like hazardous. A
Hmm.
lot of people always mistake this, especially because the even the Safford-Simpson scale or whatever the scale that TWC is. I'm not that good with the
Hmm.
Westpac, but interestingly enough, everyone says like, "Oh, hey, it's weakening to a Cat 1. We don't need to evacuate." The thing is for instance, a strong Category 5 is the same thing as a small, or not really small, but as a big Category 3.
Yes,
Because it weakens, but if in the process of weakening, it expands. That's
exactly.
exactly what Bualoi has done here. Over the
Yep.
past few hours, if you wind it back, you can see just how the storm grew a ton.
All right, let me pull up that. If I go back over the past few hours or so, and we take a look at the storm, yeah, it was a pretty compact system by the time it was leaving the Philippines, so it's grown a lot. But I do want to mention something on your point there. In Masbates here, which is located, I believe, yep, right over here, Masbates. There was a good, decent amount of damage here, and this was only a severe tropical storm or potentially minimal typhoon by the time it plowed through there, and there was a fair amount of damage and flooding and unfortunately fatalities, even though this was only a severe tropical storm. So really, strength doesn't matter all that much. Even just like if it's just a weak system, rainfall and even just strong winds like typhoon force winds can cause some serious damage if it directly impacts somewhere.
Yes, and to directly go on this point, in the Atlantic Basin, we've had tropical storms that have been retired. And
Yes.
exactly why? Because of these rain impacts. This is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what we're talking about right now. Doesn't matter
Yes.
how strong the storm is, it matters. The rain is what matters too. Sure,
Exactly.
it is stronger than what it was in the Philippines, so it is worse along those lines,
Exactly. Yeah.
along with how wide it is now as well. So this will be a double threat here. It looks like a triple threat, I think.
Yes, with
Yeah,
storm
definitely.
surge as well.
Storm
Yes.
surge, storm surge, rain, flooding, and we got
Wind.
winds. So this is
Yes.
going to be a triple threat storm as it moves in here.
Yes.
This is one of the worst type of things we'll see here.
Yep. And yeah, we can see on the model run here, it does skirt it along the coast of Vietnam, which could allow for it to still tap into some of those waters for a while. This has it going on for like 5 hours or so, 4.5 hours, just skirting along the coastline before finally it weakens over land. So the longer it tries to parallel the coastline, the longer it has to be a stronger system. However, if it continues moving west there towards Badon there, making landfall, that will kind of prevent it from maintaining its intensity.
And yeah, what it is looking like right now is that it will make landfall maybe in the next 30 minutes, actually, from how fast it's been moving.
Yes.
We're just seeing it get closer and closer and closer to that coastline here. The eye wall is already infecting. Looks like Badon is already inside that eye wall,
Yes.
which is pretty interesting here. So this is already affecting land where the eye is anyway. So this is already about to make landfall maybe in the next 30 minutes or so. Could see it by 9 a.m. When I do the last satellite loop here at 7 a.m. to 8
Hmm.
a.m., by the way it looks to be moving from 7:10 to 8:10, it looks like it's gonna make landfall here around 9:15 maybe.
Yes. And yes,
And
that
this is
time.
American time,
Yes.
so
And 9:15 is actually going to be the time in the Vietnam actually for when it makes that landfall. 9:10, 9:15 ish. PM though for them.
9:15 p.m. There we go. Okay,
Yes.
12 hours difference. Let's go.
Yeah, for
Let's
you it's a
go.
12-hour difference. For me, normally it's the
Yeah,
Philippines that's the 12-hour difference for me. But no, Vietnam for you, that's perfect. Just flip your
let's
time,
go.
and then you get the Vietnam time zone.
Exactly. That's awesome. What? I never knew that. Actually, good to know.
Yes, it's
Awesome.
very helpful. Um, because you can just
Sweet. So
say
yeah,
like,
nine
oh,
fifteen
yes,
p.m. here. As my estimate is 9:15 p.m. by the way it's been moving.
yes.
Um,
So that'd be
yeah,
probably around 40 minutes
9:15.
or so.
Yes.
And I do want to touch on the
It's
European
not.
AI model here on those next systems that we were talking about earlier. You're seeing what they want out of it. And I want to see if we can track the precursors of them. You can see right here is where this next threat system is going to be. It's west of the Northern Mariana Islands. Let's see if we can spot that on here. If there's anything too obvious, it's just a broad. Yeah, I can kind of start to see it more, a little bit of a wave here. Yes, right there. This is going to be the next system we're going to have to watch if you live in the Philippines, China, or Vietnam. This system right
Yes.
here.
South of Guam, yeah, it looks like we do have a little wave trying to form here. It
Yep.
already does look like a wave, actually. So this is the storm that on the future models has it going right towards the Philippines and later on
Yes.
Vietnam. So This is one we need to watch, folks, especially if you're in the Philippines here. You just got hit by Bualoi here. And
Yes.
Bualoi was only a severe tropical storm. So if this thing
And don't forget the
strengthens to
northern
a
Philippines were
typhoon,
also impacted by Regasa
right,
earlier. So this one
Regasa,
has it impacting probably Thursday, Friday, or even into Saturday for parts of northern Philippines there. Then goes on into parts of Guangdong and Guangxi province and northern Vietnam there. This would be in early October. This looks to be at around the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday time frame. Still far out though.
interesting.
And I would like to touch on the Google AI model here, showing that popping up. Let's see, how strong did they want this next system to become? And they wanted Category 2 out of its 90 knots. Um, yeah, because just most of the models there wanted it to quickly intensify. So I'm not surprised on that. Some of those ensemble members were showing high-end Category 4 out of its. Um, I mean, it just really
Whoa.
times the limiting factor on it. And yes, here's this
Let's
next
see.
system. Pretty obvious to spot there, right over here. Then it goes in through northern Luzon as a possible severe tropical storm, then potentially becomes a typhoon or Category 2 at least as the consensus between the ensemble members before making landfall somewhere near Hainan Island or southern Guangdong province of China there. And yes, some of those ensemble members show Category 4 there. 7 out of the like 50 of them show Category 4 plus. Um, so this system does have a decently high ceiling, similar to Regasa, but not as much, fortunately. Looks to be this ceiling is more so Category 4, alone Category 5. Regasa had a very high ceiling as a high-end Cat 5.
Holy.
Let's see.
This thing is getting really, really, really close here to landfall. Um,
Yep.
Based on my last update here in the next 30 minutes or so here.
I want to touch on the latest Joint Typhoon Warning Thunder Cone. It does have those typhoon force winds on the northern and eastern side of the storm. The weaker winds are honestly to the southwest there, so yeah, not even severe damaging winds are being shown on that quadrant there. It's a majority on the north and eastern side there, so those typhoon force winds could be impacting generally this area, looks like. Um, and looking back to this cone
Yeah,
here, yeah, typhoon force winds happening really where it makes landfall into the north, probably. So mainly again, these quadrants seem to be the ones with the typhoon force winds. This is the strongest side of the storm. So portions north of wherever it makes landfall could see some dangerous surge and wind out of it.
that is intense right
hmm
now.
Oh, and I
GFS
briefly.
model
mhm.
is
Oh, the next storm.
re GFS model. No, for current Bualoi. It's
Okay.
reading 80 plus right now.
Yeah.
Mile per hour winds. So this indeed could be a what I'm seeing right now in the outer circulation in the northern eye wall here. We got 82 miles per hour. And the southern eye wall down to 60. So again, yeah, that northern eye is going to be the threat here. The
Yes.
northeastern eye, where I'm seeing these 81, 82 mile per hour winds to the east, southeast, and east because they're on the north side. On the south side, I'm only seeing 50s to 60s.
Yes.
Interestingly
Weaker.
enough here.
Yeah, that's the weaker side. You also have to account
Yep.
for forward motion as well. That's why those winds are stronger on the northern side. It's moving in that direction. So you get to add on the forward
And
motion to it, and you subtract the forward motion on the opposite side.
forward motion makes it stronger. Ooh.
Yes.
Oh my
Right.
goodness. We're getting 90 miles per hour with the icon ensemble here.
Yes, that makes more sense, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right here. 94, 95.
hmm
Wow.
But remember, those gusts are going to be quite higher there. The icon model shows Category 4 force gust. I'll pull that up in kilometers an hour.
Oh yeah, 143 is what I'm seeing. Oh my goodness.
So these wind gusts here could be up to 230 kilometers an hour on that north and eastern side. The American model isn't even going that bullish, only around 150 kilometers an hour. But yeah, some very strong winds are going to be possible along portions of Badan and along northern Vietnam there as it moves through.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. The icon though has this being super strong with those wind gusts.
Yes.
Incredible.
Now I do want to
And
touch on that next
I feel like
system.
that is actually. Oh wow. Okay. Sorry to
What's up?
interrupt you. Looking at these rainfall rates over Laos right now, and even near China and Ha Long and northern Vietnam here, we're seeing rainfall rates there about zero point 0.2 inches an hour. But then the ones that are impacting Badan right now is 0.76 inches an hour, and the ones near the eye wall, we got 1.3, 1.41 inches an hour. Interestingly
Yes.
enough, this is a monster storm for rainfall. This will be near the northern eye wall here, which is probably going to be Cayenne here. And Hudson, you're probably going to see the most rain out of this system.
Yes.
This is
Now I do want to touch on that
um
next system, the one that's going to be after the one hitting the northern Philippines, because this next system does have a pretty high ceiling. Some of those ensemble members from the Google AI model are showing a Category 5 out of it, especially by the time if it nears the Luzon Strait or Taiwan. This has a lot of uncertainty though as to where it's expected to track. The general consensus though is for it to become a major typhoon, Category 3. But yeah, you can see a lot of ensemble members show Category 4 or 5, around probably a third of them at least. But the uncertainty is very high with this system there. Does it meander out to sea? Curves to the northeast, misses every landmass there. Does it meander to the west more and then impact parts of Japan? Does it impact the Ryukyu Islands or the Sakishima Islands? Does it impact Taiwan and eastern China? Or does it move through the Luzon Strait and impact those islands that were already hit by Regassa? A lot of uncertainties with the system, and some of them even take it all the way to Vietnam. So a lot of areas need to be on the lookout for this kind of system.
looks like we got wow. Okay. Interestingly enough here,
Hmm.
I don't like keep saying that. Below here, I'm seeing a pressure on the GFS model of 975 millibars, which is usually the pressure intensity for a category 2.
Hmm. I've noticed
And
that some of the hurricane models have or mainly the hurricane model has a pressure in the 970s. This is an interesting, I don't know why exactly, but the wind pressure ratio is very wonky with this system. Most of the models have been predicting it to be wonky, like only a Category 1 with pressures in the 950s. It's been weird.
yeah, 958 is what I'm seeing on Icon.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Wind to pressure ratios be like.
Yes. Now I want to pull up some of these other ensembles. I will pull up the FNV3 ensemble members here. Let me go to other regions in Western
Um,
Pacific.
Something I do want to mention
Hmm.
though, not related to the Pacific, if that's okay.
Yes. Well, hold on. We'll get
Um,
to that shortly because there's going to be questions about that.
okay, yeah, yeah. It's just what I'm seeing right now is actually pretty important based on what it looks like.
What's up?
Um, Noticing the last few hours, looks like Humberto is actually officially undergoing an eyewall replacement cycle, so this thing will weaken. Um, very, very soon here. It's at 155 still based on the last advisory, but you can look at the eye there; it's not really visible anymore. And over the last few hours, it looked like it was starting to close.
Hmm. And it does still have the potential to re-intensify.
So I just wanted to touch on that quick because that is not a good thing. 'Cause that means it's going to expand.
Yes.
Now back to Bloy.
Yes, and
Um,
these next systems here. Now I'll pull up some of the chat questions. Let's cover some of those questions because we probably have a fair amount.
yeah,
Thomas
that is
Chesser
true.
asks, I'm in Vietnam actually. Let's look at some of those impacts. Or actually, before we do that, I do want to pull up the overall rainfall totals, some of these areas across Vietnam, and then we'll go more into specifics. I think the European run has been doing the best job at forecasting rainfall totals here, and they were showing pretty high totals here, around a foot of rain, some spots, so around 300 millimeters or so of rain in northern Vietnam. Now, I'd like to pull up where Vietnam City is.
Let's
I don't know
see.
where that is.
Actually, yes, I did see a message in the chat earlier about Hurricane Humberto, so that is good. I touched on
Yeah,
that.
I'll get to it
Um,
in the order.
yep,
Um,
I just saw that actually here.
okay, they said
Any
I'm in
strong wind in
Hanoi.
Hanoi? Yep, any strong wind in Hanoi, he's asking.
Mhm. I'll pull up Hanoi on here. This would be right over there. Yeah, they could see some. Let's see, they're in the northern portions of Vietnam. They could see slight to moderate impacts, mainly in the form of rainfall. The European run showing around 180 millimeters of rain there. The American run showing around 150, and the German run showing around 160. So anywhere between, I'd say, 100 to 200 millimeters of rain are going to be possible for Hanoi over the next 3 days or so. Oops.
Strongest winds I possibly see out of Hanoi here is 11 miles per hour. So again, wind speed will not be your biggest concern. It's gonna be rain.
Yes. Um, this looks like only around one
Um,
hour away from landfall, so now down to 30 minutes until landfall. It may be longer
yeah.
than that. We'll see.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be rain. Those outer bands will stretch up into Hanoi. We could see possibly rainfall rates near 1 inch an hour in Hanoi. So that is something to keep an eye on.
These outer rain bands will be impacting areas well outside of wherever the center makes landfall.
Yep, because they're gonna stretch when the storm makes landfall because the storm likes to break apart. So we're gonna see those thunderstorms shoot up north, south, west, east, or basically just west. But
Mm-hmm.
some of that sometimes they do go east. It just depends.
Yes. So how much rain across Vietnam? Yeah, so generally totals of around 100 to 200 millimeters of rainfall, and some pockets could see up to 300 millimeters of rain. And that should be the same for most of these models. Yeah, the American model showing around 100 to 230 millimeters of rain, and then the German run showing anywhere between 50 to 300 millimeters of rain across Vietnam. And portions of southern Vietnam doesn't get as much rainfall on these model runs. Only around maybe 1 to 30 millimeters of rain. It's mainly the northern portions of Vietnam that are going to get the heaviest rainfall and worse rain impacts. Although, like we were mentioning earlier, those outer bands will be impacting areas far to the south there. Cambodia looks to be another target for rainfall. So, another question there. Is Imelda going to form soon? Sharkius, what do you think?
Imelda, based
Do you
on
think it's going to get
how it's
named
been,
soon?
based on how it's based on how it's been behaving the last few hours. I mean, even yesterday, I was keeping my eyes on it. I'm like, the recon flew through it last night. They saw nothing that was above 34 knots in flight level, which means it's around 30 knots, so it's 35 miles per hour. Still, and it has been the last few hours. Recon was flying through an awful lot last night to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this morning, it depends. Right now, it does not look like it's organized enough, in my opinion. But the closer it does get to, I don't know what this island is in the Bahamas, but the biggest island in the
I think that's
Bahamas here,
Andros Island.
Andros Island. Okay, so the closer it gets to Andros Island here, um, it will probably become a tropical storm by the time it like grazes the coastline, in my opinion.
Yes.
So
Recon
we'll see.
found tropical storm force winds in the flight level, so around, like you were saying, around 30 knots at the surface. So, tropical depression, or maybe just minimal tropical storm. So, um,
They
um,
flew through it. They flew through it last night before I went to sleep at like 10 to 11 p.m. So it has been a good amount of time since they've been in it, though, so it could be a tropical storm now. But in my opinion, I don't think it is, just due to its organization.
mhm.
But again, we've seen very ugly tropical storms over the years. So there is a chance that this is a tropical storm. We just have to wait for recon to fly back through, or the next advisory here, which would
Yep.
be at 10 a.m. Central or 11 a.m. Eastern time, which is your time. So
They're about to
yeah, you're
fly
not
through
having me.
that. Um, let's see, fly through that strongest or section of strongest winds. So we could see tropical storm support. We'll see though.
In the next few hours, yeah, I'll probably see in like the next hour or two, maybe, depending on if
Hmm.
they're going to do, yeah, an intermediate advisory or not.
Yep. Oh well,
Probably
they
not,
have
though.
to because of those warnings.
They probably might not have to, though, if they're going to get through it in the next hour, because it's already going to be near 11 a.m., so just do 11 a.m. advisory.
Oh wait, yeah, sorry, dang. Okay, I forgot. I thought that 11 a.m. was intermediate. Yeah, my bad. Yep, you're right.
No,
Yeah,
11 a.m.
yeah,
is not
they'll wait
intermediate.
until 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 11:05, 11:05.
Yes. And then Mackenzie asked if Bualoi is a Category 2. Looks like it's borderline, I'd say. What do you think,
I
Sharkius?
think me and Chase were talking about this actually in the beginning of the stream. We think it is a category two, but like borderline. So
Yes,
that'd be 100 miles per hour at least, and in 1 minute sustained winds.
exactly, yes. So it looks
So
like
this
either high
is
in Cat 1 or low in Category 2, just borderline case.
yeah. So it looks like it's either 90 miles per hour or 80 knots, or it could be 85 knots, which is 100 miles per hour cat two.
Mm-hmm.
Due to the knots to miles per hour ratio here, that is why there's no 95 miles per hour because
Yes.
there's 80 to 85 knots goes rounds up closer to 100 than it does 95s. So it goes right up to 100 miles per hour here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either 90 or 100 miles per hour. We think it's 100,
Yes.
but that is very very borderline though because it is again it is struggling to intensify fast due to moderate level wind shear, which is around 15 knots right now. Oh no,
Yes.
15 miles per hour.
10 to 15 knots, yes.
10 to 15 knots. So that is around 10 to 15 miles per hour here.
And also, it's
Um,
starting to encounter some land interaction as well, which should stunt its intensification.
Yep, that outer eye wall or the outer eye is starting to impact Minduk and Badan here. So that will also inhibit the storm from intensifying. So
Is
this
it
will probably
moving
be.
slower than forecast?
Hmm?
Is it moving
Um,
slower than forecast? That like I'm trying to look
no,
here.
no, no, it's not.
Okay. To me, it
No, it is
kind of
definitely
looks.
not.
Hmm.
It is definitely not. 110 miles is near 6 hours. That is around 18 miles an hour. It's speeding up.
Okay. I mean, compared to their forecast
Based
cone
on
is
the
what I
last
meant.
dot, based on the last dot to where it is now.
Hmm. See, so
If you
how
do
far
that,
away is the
you do that
center
master.
from landfall?
Based on what the based on Zoom Earth here, where that typhoon icon is,
Hmm.
is let's see, it's about 10 miles offshore here.
Okay. So it
So
is
it's
getting
really
close. I'm not so
probably
sure
around
about 20 minutes though until landfall. I might extend that a little bit.
9:05. No, not 9:05. It's probably going to be around 9:15, maybe.
Yep, I'll increase that just a bit. So instead of 8 plus 15, that's 23 minutes until landfall. Then we'll extend that if needed, but that seems like it should be an accurate estimate of landfall timing.
As of the current speed it's been moving, yes, for sure.
Now, another question. Any update on the Western Pacific? And then someone else asks, oh, isn't there just Bualoi? No, we're going to have two other systems to look out for in the Western Pacific here. This was as of my 8 p.m. updates, or 8 a.m. update for y'all in Vietnam, or the Philippines. A 40% chance across northern Luzon and then into the South China Sea, and a 20% chance by the Northern Mariana Islands. So there's going to be two other signals we're going to be having to watch out for over the coming days. One could threaten Luzon, the Babuan Islands, and then on to Hainan Island, Vietnam, and China. The other one's a little bit more uncertain as to where it could go.
There's a lot of models predicting it to be a Cat 5, but the general
Yes.
consensus is a Category 3 major typhoon.
Yes, right here,
So,
this
it'll still
next
be a
one
major.
by the Mariana Islands. But if you notice, though, there are some members wanting a Category 4 near Category 5 impacting northern Luzon. So just there's some of these ensembles, most of them show it threatening land in the long range. Just how strong is a bit uncertain, and where exactly it impacts is uncertain. So, what do you recommend people
Yeah.
do this far out?
Honestly, when you're this far out and you just look at the models and you see it going in all these different directions, the best you can do is be on alert.
Exactly.
Keep an
Just
eye out
look at
for
it. Yep.
future
Hmm.
updates because when the dates get closer, you'll be able to have more of a definite forecast cone here. That's when
Exactly.
that storm actually develops. You'll get an actual forecast cone, which will narrow it down. But those of you who, as you can see, who are in those forecast models, like you said, Thomas Chesser from Hanoi here, you have to keep your eye on this because this looks like it could come near Hanoi as a major typhoon by one of the models here, a couple of them actually.
Yes.
So this doesn't mean it will, because there's a lot of them shooting directly to the north here. But everyone in this cone that Chase just drew here,
Yep.
this is exactly what you need to keep your eye on. This is a very interesting setup here, but again, it is really, really far out. That's why all these models are predicting where it's going to go. I mean,
Yes.
they're shooting up to the north, even Japan, Tokyo. Even the Koreas are getting a little bit of it and all
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So this is just too far out to make a definite answer. But when the dates get closer, they'll be more certain.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, Mackenzie mentions a great point here. It's been back to back to back storms. First we had Metag impacting China, then we had Regasa, then we had Bualoi. So then we're gonna have another system impacting the Philippines before this big threat. This one right over here, which could impact Luzon over the next. I mean, this one's a lot more certain, as you can tell the difference between these two forecast cones. Kind of like of where it could go.
Yeah.
One's like
Yep.
this, and then the other's more set in stone as to where it's going.
Looks like definitely you got the Philippines in the path, whether it's the direct north of the Philippines or just it's going to be the northern Philippines no matter what. It just matters what part of the northern Philippines.
Yes.
Um, Again, this is also not just the Philippines either. You got China and you got Vietnam in the direct path of this. It could become category 5 with some of these models
Yes.
before even before even hitting the Philippines even, or there you go, more certainly a major typhoon before it impacts China.
Yes. So yeah, I mean,
All the
this is going to
models.
be another system that you guys are going to need to be watching pretty closely. This is closer in time. Like impacts in the Philippines could be happening within the next 5 days or so from it, and parts of China within a week. So we are getting increased confidence that there could be a system moving forward there. We'll have more updates over the coming days on this system if it continues to look like this much of a land threat.
Oh, we got a satellite update here. I need to check
Hmm.
how close it is to the coast. Oh wow, it is really really close actually. Wow. In the last 10 minutes, it's moved around 3 miles.
Hmm.
So 3.3 miles in 10. No wait. Yeah, 3.2 miles in 10 minutes.
Mackenzie
Actually, no,
asked, "What about the
that's
European AI model?" Yeah, I'll show that again on.
yeah, I'm gonna do some math calculations to do that.
Mhm. So the European AI model here does show the wave near the Northern Mariana Islands for today. Then going forward in time, nears the Philippines, and it's on the northern end of guidance there, impacting portions of Cagayan in the Philippines and then the Babuan Islands before moving near Ilocos Norte, then moving into the South China Sea and impacting Guangdong Province and Hainan Island there as a possible typhoon, then eventually onto northern Vietnam as a potential typhoon before weakening. A forecast cone would be given. I would make one by the time it becomes a tropical cyclone, most likely, which means over the next 3 days or 4 days, we could be seeing forecast cones and definitely over the next few days, more updates on the system as it becomes an invest. And we get like, I don't know what invest number would be on next. I don't know if it's 94W or um,
Ooh, ooh. Okay, so it is
what's
moving
up with
at
its movement.
16.2 miles per hour because it is traveling 2.7 miles in 10 minutes. So if you
Mm-hmm.
do 2.7 miles divided by 10 minutes, you get 0.27 miles per minute, which times 60, that is 16.2. So 16.2 miles per hour. So that looks like could make landfall actually in the next probably 20 minutes.
Yes. I'm going to up that forecast just a little bit so that it says 20 minutes then. Or no, I'm going to keep it as that for right now. The 16 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Keep it as that for right now because it could speed up still. It could slow
Mm-hmm.
down. We'll see on the next 10-minute update. So that will be probably in the next 10 minutes.
Yes.
Satellite update. So we'll keep our eyes on that here. With the precipitation area here, um, it is relatively 3.7 miles offshore. So this could be again in the next 20, no, 15 minutes, maybe 9:15, like I said earlier. But we'll keep close eyes on this here. But it is closing in on landfall.
Mm-hmm. Someone
And
asked a
also,
question for you, I guess. It's any update on Tropical Depression 9? How strong do you think that system's going to get?
let's see. Question for me. All right. Yeah, since I'm doing the Atlantic, I guess kind of.
Let's-
All right. Well, yeah. So Tropical Depression 9. Based on what I've been seeing the last couple hours, and this was yesterday as well, it was pretty unorganized, and Recon kept reading the same thing at flight level, which was 35 knots. But at surface level, that is 30 knots, which is 35 miles per hour, which is the basic minimum requirement for a tropical depression. So it is still looks like it could be a depression by the way it looks on satellite imagery. But again, we've seen some very ugly tropical storms over the years. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a tropical storm by now. But Recon is about to fly through this thing, and we should get our around whenever they fly through, which could be the next hour or so. We'll get that 11 a.m. advisory,
Mhm.
and it could likely be a 40 mile per hour tropical storm here. If they read 45 knots at flight level, then yes, it will be a tropical storm by default here, which is the lowest it can go is 40 miles per hour. So again,
Yes.
by the way it looks, it definitely could be a tropical storm because we've seen some very ugly ones over the years. But my estimate is that at this moment, based on recent satellite, it still looks like a depression. But in the next hour, that could change
Mhm.
because it is over open water. So we'll keep an eye on that here. I'll
Yes.
continue checking up on it here as we're tracking Bualoi, but right now, still tropical depression in my eyes.
Mhm. But what about its future? How strong do you think it's going to get?
Um, it really depends, but it looks like honestly, it could either become a low end category one, maybe even a high end category one, but the way that it's going to track over the Bahamas, it's just going to hinder with its intensity.
Mhm.
So it probably a high end cat one at the highest, and then before it becomes post tropical by Bermuda, it looks like. But it all depends right now on what Humberto is going to do. This
Yes.
is actually what the Weather Channel was talking about too. Is that Humberto will influence future Imelda's track. So this is
Yes.
what we're going to keep our eyes on. Because if Humberto does do what it's doing right now and continues to curve to the north, that'll also influence Imelda to do the same thing.
Exactly.
We
Let's move off
saw,
to the
we
east.
saw, yes, we saw this back in 2017 with Maria and Jose.
Mhm.
Jose stalled to the north and kept Maria away from land because that's where
Yes.
it was.
What is
So
the
it
effect
shifted it
called
away
when they do that?
to the Fujiwara.
Yes. Pretty interesting to
Trust
see
me,
this happen
yes,
so close
again,
to
this will
land.
be. Since Humberto actually is undergoing that eyewall replacement, it will expand too. So it means it will have a bigger influence on nine here as it continues to move to the north. When Humberto does expand, if it does move to the west because of this eyewall replacement, then it will push it towards land. But if it continues to move out to sea like it's doing, then it will also influence nine to move to sea. So let's hope it does that and keeps it away from Carolinas because we know what's happened the last year in Carolina. We don't need it again.
Exactly.
Yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of Hurricane Helene's landfall, actually. So again, it's just a year after striking. We don't need another one.
Mhm. Let's see. Zen
But yes,
asked if
Tropical
mhm.
Depression 9.
What's up?
But this guy, I'm to answer this guy's question. Yeah, Tropical Depression 9 could become a hurricane. I think it will
Yep. Let's see here.
after the Bahamas, obviously.
Zen asks, is Typhoon Opong, does it have an eye? Well, on radar imagery, it clearly does. You can see its eye right on here. On satellite imagery, it's harder to find here, but it does have an eye. It's trying
It's
to
still
stack
there
up
though.
vertically.
Yeah, it's difficult for it because it's going through moderate shear right now, but
Yes.
it really does have an eye here.
Mm-hmm. Mackenzie asks, Humberto, if it's going through an eye wall replacement cycle. What do you think, Sharkius?
Yes, it is. When I looked at the recent imagery from last night and compared it to right now, yes, Humberto is undergoing an eye wall replacement cycle, which you can see the eye looks like it has completely collapsed. Actually, there still looks like to be a eye there. By the looks of it right now, but based on what I'm seeing, it does look like there is somewhat of an eye still there. Yeah,
Yep.
it will be undergoing an eye wall replacement cycle soon, if not now, because that eye is super incredibly small. And when that eye collapses, again, it already looks like it's trying to form another outer eye wall here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed that, Chase, but it is on satellite imagery on Zoom Earth. If you look at it, you can see it is starting to develop an outer eye wall here.
Well, I'll take a look at that. Um, yeah, I can kind of see a
Looks like it's
moat
developing another
forming.
eye here. hmm Like I said, this thing is probably going to go under an eye wall replacement cycle soon, meaning this will expand and have more influence on what Tropical Depression 9 will do here.
Now, I do want to briefly touch on the latest Joint Typhoon Warning Center forecast. They've kept it at winds of 80 miles an hour, 70 knots, and they've pushed back landfall a little bit, I think. Let me look at their forecasted landfall timing.
Yes.
Um,
Yep, they moved it to the north. Kion now. It's shifting to the north, it looks.
oops, let me go back to wind speeds there. Just trying to figure out what time they want the landfall to be. It'd be 15:20 UTC, so that's over an hour away. But if it moves on that southern end, looks like their landfall time would be in around 45 minutes. I'll push it up to 20 minutes an hour, 24 minutes, just in case there. So I do think it's moved a little bit slower than forecasted, at least in the near term.
Ooh. Ooh, okay.
Mackenzie asks if there's any
Interesting.
updates on the Eastern Pacific and North Indian Ocean. I'll cover that. Um, in the Eastern Pacific, we do have another disturbance there after Narda there that could become a brief tropical cyclone, and another one even after that, which could become a hurricane or even major hurricane. I'll touch on the Google AI models and what they're thinking about that next system by Mexico. Because I believe the ensembles were going quite bullish yesterday. See what they're at right now. The consensus between all the ensembles shows minimal Category 2 out of it, so we could see a decent hurricane over the next 10 days or so in the Eastern Pacific. Now, North Indian Ocean, touching on that, we have two disturbances we need to look out for. One is potentially going to become a tropical cyclone in the Arabian Sea, and then the other one in the Bay of Bengal. So we could have dual tropical cyclones in the North Indian Ocean. Um,
Yes, to answer your question, Sean, this is something I see all the time. Yes, a typhoon, it does count as a hurricane. They are basically the same thing, just different terms.
mhm.
There again, the Westpac calls them typhoons. The East Pacific hurricanes, North Atlantic hurricanes, Southern Atlantic. I think they also call them hurricanes in Southern Atlantic. Then you just call them tropical cyclones in the Australia Basin. I think in the Indian Ocean too.
Mhm.
So again, it's just a different term, but they are the same thing.
Yes. Oh, Johanna says congrats on 2.9 thousand subscribers. Wow. Woohoo! Can't believe that. I was just thanking everyone like a couple days ago for the 2.8
Oh.
thousand. Um, yes.
Yeah, you're 2.9. You just passed Nathan.
Yes, I passed that with the
Nice.
2.8 thousand, and I'm like, wow, okay, 2.9 thousand now. It's mainly due to that Western Pacific hypo. That has been my most, or like my quickest or fastest growing YouTube video that I've ever posted.
Why do people love Westpac so much, dude?
9.3 thousand views, and it's almost the 7 day mark. That is going to be my most popular video that I've ever made because, man, my most popular video is like 30 or 29,000 views 9 months ago. So this one's going to pretty easily pass that. Let's see, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, around 13th place or so in terms of my most popular videos. That so already, and it's just the first week. So I didn't expect that. I wish I posted that earlier. Um, Man, okay. Thank you guys so much for your support on that. Also, Sharkius
Yeah,
is an
that's
animator
that's a
on YouTube. If you search up Hurricane Sharkius, I believe that's the name, right?
WX now. I changed it.
Oh, is it Sharkius WX?
It's WX Sharkus now.
Okay,
But yeah,
WX Sharkius. So let me just trying to verify. I was searching that up on my phone if I can
Mhm.
spell correctly. Yes, he also makes animations very similar to mine, and he does a lot of hypothetical animations, which are pretty neat. Be sure to give him a follow if you haven't already. He's also done the track of Irma and Wilma and Harvey, Milton, Dorian, Katrina, a lot of infamous storms. I've done those, but a while ago, so he has a lot higher quality animations on some of those storms, especially things like Katrina, and Dorian. So be sure to give him a follow if you
actually,
haven't already.
Katrina's basically his animation. Technically, I mean, I made icons very similar to his back then.
Hmm.
But even these ones are pretty similar, but they are more like, I guess, enhanced. Because I was like,
Yes.
you know what, like I want to try and make my own idea as well, and well, actually, I came up with a pretty neat concept in my opinion.
Yes.
I fell in love with those icons immediately. I wanted to change them a little bit because I kind of got complaints about it, but I'm like, but they are actually different, and I just fell in love with them.
Hmm.
But yeah. Anyways, back to the
Yes. Yes. Oh,
coverage here.
Johanna's
We
asked.
got a little bit distracted,
Yep, all
but
good. Johanna's asked, what's the website link to the Google AI models? If you search up DeepMind Google, or just search up like Google Weather Lab cyclones, you should be able to find it. If you're having difficulty, just let me know, and I can give you like another another thing to search up then. Um, and
yeah,
then
I just pulled
also,
it up. If you
mhm,
search up Google Weather Lab here, you'll get it.
yes, there was a question I had about this website right here, where I was pulling up Hurricane Umberto here. This website is weathernerds.org. Just wanted to clarify that. Something to note though is there's no more lightning activity, at least over like the past few minutes or so in Umberto, which could confirm that kind of eyewall replacement cycle starting, or like its weakening trend there. The inner eyewall isn't fighting as much.
Holy buckets. All the models are predicting Imelda to curve to the east. Okay. Sorry, just
Yes.
checking out the Google Weather Lab that you showed me. This is
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Yep, so while not a single ensemble shows it making landfall anymore.
Well, there's like one,
Oh yes, I see that. But looks more likely now that it's going
but
to
it's a
curve off
very.
to the east.
Mhm.
This is due to its slower motion. It's stalled by Cuba for a while now, and also the trough that was over the southeastern United States that was supposed to pull it towards the Carolinas has downtrended. So mainly it's going to be Umberto that's pulling it out to sea.
Yeah, that food again. If Humberto curves to the west, which it could with the eye wall for at least a little bit, that will influence future Imelda to track. Again, I think it is definitely going to be Imelda. There's no doubt in my mind that this will
Hmm.
become Imelda eventually, especially on the next advisory. I think it will be. Um, but future Imelda, this could track really close to the Carolinas if Humberto does track more to the west, but we'll see.
Yes, and also some of those Google AI Ensemble shows Category 2 or 3 out of it. Looks like the consensus is Category 2 by the time it nears Bermuda.
Ooh, interesting. I don't know. I personally don't think it might. I don't think it's gonna be a cat two, but we'll
Hmm.
see.
Yep.
I think mine is showing me that it's going to be a Cat 1 by the time it reaches Bermuda.
Hmm. Let's see. What are the next names in the North Indian Ocean? I believe it's Shakti, something like that. And also,
I ain't
is
going to know that one.
Umberto
That's
a
all you
boy
know.
name?
Uh,
Yes, I
I
believe
think
so.
so.
Yes.
I think
What
so.
was the name before? It was Gabrielle. That's a girl name.
Yeah, and then you got Imelda, which is a girl name, probably. I mean, at least
Hmm.
I think so. I don't think a boy should be called Imelda, in my opinion. I just don't think. I mean, they can. I just don't think they should.
Yes. Umberto sounds more like a guy name.
Definitely. Actually,
Uh,
yeah, it is.
yes.
It's a Mexican name. Actually, it is a Spanish name.
Oh yeah.
The reason why I know this is because my family actually is Mexican. So my
Hmm.
well, not actually Mexican from Mexico, but yeah, we have Mexican in us.
Yes.
My dad is the one who told me that yes, it is a Spanish name.
Hmm.
So
I
yes,
believe
this
it's
is a
pronounced without
boy
the H,
Spanish
right?
name. Humberto. No, I'm pretty sure it's still Humberto. It's
Okay, I thought
just
it was
less
Umberto.
pronounced.
Yeah. That's
You just say it quick. You just say it quick.
Umberto.
Humberto,
Yeah.
like Humberto.
Yes.
I think that's how you say it. Which is interesting. It's a nice name.
Hmm.
I like it. I mean, it's interesting for an Atlantic hurricane, but sure.
Yes. Oh, and
Sure, we'll take it.
real quickly on the Google AI model on future Melda, its current intensity that it's estimating it's supposed to be right now is around 45 knots, so around 50 miles an hour tropical storm. So it's kind of failing expectations. Um, so overall, that higher forecast there seems unlikely for it to become, like that Category 2 strength system. Looking more unlikely due
This
to the fact it's
tractor,
struggling now.
this track, very interesting track here, actually.
Making that 90-degree hand or 90-degree turn to the east.
Oh, it made like 90-degree turns. I don't know if you noticed that.
Hmm?
Made like multiple 90-degree angles.
Oh, which one? Oh, 9L.
One, two, three, four. Like four 90-degree angles. That's fun.
Oh yeah, that's just wobbles and things like that. But I mean, like it's future
Yeah, looks like
tractors.
you're drawn.
It's
What in
quite
the
rare to
hypo
see that
track
kind of
is
curve.
that?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's like a hypothetical track. Hello.
Yes. Oh,
Actually,
the
there's I
National
don't know if you
Hurricane.
noticed, but Nathan, his animation actually had Imelda like strengthen right where it is right now, which is
Oh
actually
wow.
kind of funny.
Yes. The
I saw that
National
in the
Hurricane
server. I'm
Center.
like, yeah, something always has to happen.
Yes. The
No,
National
keep going.
Hurricane Center has
Keep
upped
going.
the
Go ahead.
chances of that Eastern Pacific disturbance to 60%. That's climbed pretty rapidly. Earlier, I think it was only 30%. That was like 12 hours ago or so, or 16 or 18 hours ago, around 30%. So they've increased chances quite quickly on it. We could see an invest out of this pretty soon. Looking decent there, broad circulation there. Um, just a cluster of thunderstorms to the west there. A little bit of outflow starting to be seen on it, so we could see a brief tropical cyclone develop out of this in the near term, but more so in the longer range, medium to long range. Fortunately, not going to be impacting anywhere.
Good. We don't need that.
Yes.
Oh, you may want to up in your landfall time on Bualoi because I think it's gonna stay off the coast a little bit. Actually, wait, what the heck? There's an island right here,
What's up?
right next to the like possible landfall area. See
Oh
a little
yeah.
island if you zoom in.
Yes, I see that. Huh. Okay. Let me pull up radar imagery on it. Can I even see the island on here? Yes, I can. It looks uninhabited.
The eye basically right over it, actually.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah, but
right.
the eye looks
It's
like it's right over it. There you go. There's a landfall marker right there for you.
and it's too small for me. I'd say I'd count the main landfall in Vietnam.
It's still a landfall.
Technically, yes.
Uh, got 'em. But yeah, that is the eye wall is over land now, so we could see the land interaction go into effect here, which will weaken it faster.
I'll increase the landfall timing a bit to
Humberto, Humberto impacting Bermuda. It could if it curves more to the north, but based on the current trajectory and basically because it's going to an eye wall replacement, it might curve more to the west, which will keep it away from Bermuda. But future Imelda is going to be the one that probably threatens Bermuda the most here. But if
Yes.
Humberto does expand, which it likely will from the eye wall replacement, usually they always do. We saw this with Milton. They will expand. So Humberto could expand and then could impact Bermuda with its outer rain bands, and then Imelda comes right behind it.
Here, I'll pull up the
So
zoomed out
it's
look
very
at
possible here.
Umberto and Bermuda. There's Bermuda there, and that green is the tropical storm force winds. So you can see how expansive it is and nearing the coast of Bermuda there. So pretty large system in terms of its wind field compared to future Imelda. And there's Bermuda right over here. So could be seeing some tropical storm force winds or at least some gust if we look at the upper level. Look here, this is what I kind of like to
Oh,
use for gust there. Could see some tropical storm force gust in parts of Bermuda on possibility that they could get some of those
dang.
sustained winds.
That is actually very, that's a big storm.
The Halves
Like I
B
said, it's
run
going to
has them getting
expand.
it.
It
Tropical
does.
storm force
It does
winds.
predict that eye wall replacement. It does predict that
Yes.
eye wall replacement, like I said. So that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going
Oh man.
to expand.
Yes.
Going to expand. Actually, wait, go back. Go back a little bit. Look, watch that eye wall replacement. And then it just, boom,
Yes.
just blows up. It's gonna happen. It's not. It might not happen like maybe today, but it looks like it is happening today actually. But I don't know
Mm-hmm.
because the eye is kind of covered right now by satellite imagery when I look at it.
And will
But
try to
maybe it's
become
still there on
frontal
infrared.
by the time it nears Bermuda or goes to the north of it. Looks like it's non-tropical at that
Is
point
it
there.
still? Could you do me a favor,
Mm-hmm.
quick, and check infrared in Alberto to see if the eye is still there?
Sure. I believe I saw it was. Here, I'll pull it up on here, and then we'll go to infrared imagery instead of Dvorak. Oops. Here, I'll pull it up on here. It looks like it's still apparent there. Yeah, pretty clearly. You can still see it.
Oh wow, that is a small eye though.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. God.
Yep, so you
Yeah, so
can
the eye
still
is
see
still
it.
there. I thought it looked on satellite.
But yeah, you
Yep.
can see
So the
that
eye
moat that
is
you were
not. It's not
mentioning
undergoing.
to the
Yep.
west
The
of it there,
outer
yes.
eye is starting to take shape here. Yeah. So this probably will go under an eye wall replacement cycle within the next day or so, maybe day or two. I
Mm-hmm.
think day probably. By the way, that
Yep.
outer area are starting to form there. Usually means that inner eye wall is going to collapse soon.
Yes.
So the eye wall replacement will come in soon, and then the storm's going to grow.
Mm-hmm. Is Octave the
Look at how
next
big this
name
is.
in the Eastern Pacific? Thomas Chesser said it was. I don't know if you know.
I'll check quick.
Because we just had
2025 Eastern.
Narda. Octave, yes, and then it's Priscilla, I think, is how you pronounce that. The name after that.
Oh, what a great name.
Yes.
Octave. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Eastern Pacific hurricane season. Of course, I haven't really looked at the Eastern Pacific season, so I don't have it bookmarked or like in my recent search.
Yes.
So it takes me a minute here. Um, already at 103 ace. Dang. Let's see.
Mackenzie asked for an update on Neoguri. I'll cover that. That system did potentially become a Category 4 when it, or in the, due to this jet interaction right at around sunset. Beautiful jet interaction there. So yeah, it's possible it could have become a Category 4, but now it is weakening. Starting to experience some of the shear and some of those cooler sea surface temperatures, but a powerful extratropical cyclone. Looks though that it could weaken fairly quickly. Briefly touching on the wind speed forecast here. Is it better to show the American run, I think? So yeah, should become a post-tropical cyclone and then quickly weaken out to sea, fortunately. But yeah, pretty beautiful jet interaction there that it had. When it was only expected to become like a low end Category 1, it just exceeded expectations to become a Category 4 possibly there. So pretty impressive.
Excuse me, sorry.
Well, good.
Let's see, we've had four majors in the Eastern Pacific.
Sean asked if there's going to be another
Um,
hurricane there. I'll touch on those two signals on the American or on the AI ensembles here. So starting out with that current disturbance with a 60% chance of development. Looking at the consensus here between the Google AI ensembles, mainly tropical storm or high-end tropical storm. Peak looks to be around 60 to 65 miles an hour. Although some of those ensembles, about a third of them show hurricane out of it. Say we could see a hurricane by the time, like in a week from now or so. There, the next system after that seems to be the more likely system to become a hurricane. Let's see. Yep, it's this one right here. The general consensus seems to be a Category 2 out of it by the time it's nearing Baja California Sur. So, yeah, we could see a hurricane out of this. Looks to be like around 40 or so out of the 50 ensemble members show hurricane out of it. So, I'm kind of confident that this will form, and then somewhat confident it will become a hurricane.
oh nine. Not right now. There's no other predicted invest right now
Hmm.
in the Atlantic. Mainly just Humberto and Zelda right now.
Yes.
What I'm seeing though, I don't know. It doesn't look like there's gonna be another. There could be a wave coming off the coast of Africa right now, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, looking at the ensembles in the Atlantic, like you mentioned, I did see a little bit of support in the main development region. That would be in a week or so, a wave coming off of there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's that wave right here. I'm looking at satellite imagery. If you go to Zoom Earth, you can see off the coast of
mhm.
Guyana, Sierra Leone. You got a little something popping up out here, a little wave.
So yeah,
This
yeah, that
could
might
have
be it.
potential something right here. Yeah, so that could become something later on, maybe,
Hmm.
but
I'll
not a
pull
lot of
up the
confidence
European
yet.
AI model. I don't think it's showing a whole lot out of that. No, not really. It's showing. I don't even think that that wave that we're looking at now is the one that the models show support out of. No, but the European AI model does show a pretty decent tropical wave there in the next 10 days. Just not a fully fledged tropical cyclone. Could become one, just drifts westward. So that's going to be the next signal we'll have to watch out for.
Okay. Let's check something here.
Here, I will probably wrap up the stream, just because not a whole lot of people are watching, and also the National Hurricane Center updates is going to be coming out soon, so I'm going to need to cover that on accounts on social media. So I briefly just want to go on an overview right now on like when the next stream is going to be, that kind of stuff. So let's see, from least threatening to most threatening, we have a lot going on. Let's see, we have Typhoon Neoguri, which is going out to sea, not impacting anywhere. Gabrielle is dissipating now. Umberto isn't really expected to impact anywhere except for Bermuda. Narda is not going to impact anywhere, and that Eastern Pacific system is not going to impact anywhere. So narrowing that down, the next live stream could be on. I don't think Bualoi because that system is going to be dissipating over Vietnam and Indochina regions. 9L, I don't think so. Maybe as it's impacting the Bahamas and Bermuda. Not really looking likely though. The the best two or three threats are going to be 99B because it could be a decent rainmaker over Western India, which not a lot of people have been talking about, unfortunately. Um, but I do think that the most likely scenario is going to be this 40% area of interest by Northern Luzon. That could be what the next stream is going to be about over the next few days. We'll have a tropical update on that. Of course, before it impacts the Philippines, we should see another tropical update. But for right now, that's about it. We'll have more updates over the coming days. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you, Sharkius, for joining in on the stream.
Yeah, actually, I was up for it, so I'm glad I was. It was
Yes.
great coverage. We needed to do this.
Yep. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next update. Stay safe.